Hey, what's up, guys? Tukey here, back again, finally, with another episode of my new Carolina Hurricanes franchise mode series right here on NHL 19. In today's episode, we sim through the entirety of the 2018-2019 season, and I'll tell you as to why that's the case in just a moment. But I do want to say, first and foremost, thank you to the response for that first episode. I was nervous for that episode. I'm nervous for this episode, like I always am at the start of a new series, especially though for this series with as many rules as they are, but I'm glad that wasn't a major turnoff for the majority of you. Thank you. I still don't understand how anybody watches what I do, whether on YouTube or Twitch, but hey, I'll take it. That said, I wanted to get to a couple of your comments before we get into the sim. First and foremost, to answer the question as to why I did not run this as an expansion series. If you do start an expansion franchise, the 2019 free agents are free agents a year earlier. So we would go through the expansion draft, then the re-sign phase, or the entry draft, the re-sign phase, and then that first free agency. Technically, you would have guys there who are a year ahead of schedule. So Erik Karlsson, Braden Point, Patrick Laine are all free agents a year earlier. That is why I held off. I didn't want that to be the case. Secondly, a very good point was raised, and it is the main reason as to why we're going to be simming through the entire season in this episode. We are going to be turning off computer trades and waivers for the first season only. That way, the post-deadline rosters stay the same for the entire season, as opposed to the AI going crazy with signings. And I also can't help but think that it's going to make things that much more interesting for us in that first offseason, where now that we have the rule of having to stay true to the player roles, we're going to see players develop, and that's going to result in a lot more changes heading into that second season, where I'll really be able to put my own spin on the team instead of immediately having to trade a Calvin DeHaan or something like that. So this first year is not necessarily going to be on the back burner because we could make the playoffs. The main thing that we're going to be focusing on, though, is player development and how that's going to affect the team moving forward. So while I thought, like, okay, we're going to trade Calvin DeHaan and a fourth-line forward today, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be waiting until the second season to really put our spin on this team. Technically, the entry draft is when that would really begin, because the whole 7 draft pick rule is still going to be there. That said, we do still have a goal for this season, and I'll get to that in one moment. So again, for this season only, computer trades are off, as are waivers, to keep the rosters the same. Everything else is the same, which brings me to the goal of this year. It was the most thumbs up comment, and that, of course, is how I will be deciding things, so thank you guys. Of course, whenever I mention, hey, thumbs up a comment that you like, it would help. It would help. I know it's a bit of a pain to do, but say you watch the video, come back 2 days later, double check through the comments, thumbs up whatever else you see, and that would really help this series be that much more interesting. The goal for this season is simple. To stick it to Don Cherry, we have to win the majority of our games on Saturday night. If we win, no punishment. If we lose, then next season I will randomly lose the right to scout a region. Now, technically, we could get lucky, and it could land on Rest of World. I have a feeling, though, that if it was up to you guys, you'd say, okay, it has to be one of the big regions where players actually come from. I'll leave that up to you, because right now it's up in the air anyway as to whether or not we're even going to fail the challenge. But we will have to be paying very close attention to what's going on this season, despite trades and waivers being off, because this roster, despite me not having the ability to really alter it, this roster cannot let me down, because losing the ability to, say, scout the WHL in year 2, that would be very, very rough, I have to admit. So that'll be one of the main things that we get to focus on as we continue throughout this episode. And that way, too, we can kind of ease into what this series is before going over the top ridiculous with the rules heading into our second season and our first full season with the team. So as far as this roster is concerned, I mean, the goaltending is going to be staying the same. Curtis McElhinney is there. Now, in fairness, and I was going to point this out as well, there have been some NCAA signings, including Quinn Hughes being signed. I didn't restart franchise. I was going to, but it's really not that big of a deal. In fairness, I believe Hughes is the only defenseman who ends up, or who, not the only defenseman, but the only player who just signed who actually starts this year, at least thus far. The rest of them are all in the future, and for those who didn't already have an NHL team, they're not going to be that good anyway, so I'm not too concerned about it. We really didn't miss out on that much, aside from essentially helping Vancouver not waste a year of Hughes' ELC, even though in real life it makes sense for them to sign him, so I wanted to point that out. Our goaltending stays the same. Defensively, it might as well stay the same. It's pretty straightforward, and like I said, if we're counting on player development, Fleury, McCown, Bean could be the three that really alter what this defense looks like next year if they are third-pairing guys. And then forward-wise, I mean, we have 13 right now. We might as well leave them all there. I'm not too concerned with it. So if we go best lines at the moment, what are we dealing with? Williams, Aho, Teravainen. I probably want to bump up Nino to that top line with Teravainen and Aho. Have Ferland, Walmart. Maybe Ferland, Stahl, Williams. Bit more of a defensive mindset to that line. McGinn, Walmart, and Svechnikov works, though. And then Fogle, McKegg, and Martinuk. Not a terrible fourth line. Defensively, of course, it's probably our strong suit, and then we'll see what Curtis McElhinney can do. But some people might debate that McElhinney, being the highest-rated goaltender on the team. I really don't. He is kind of the best of the bunch, even if Mrazek's been a bit hit or miss this season. As far as the Charlotte Checkers are concerned, I think we're good. Helvig is not going to develop. He's way too low of an overall, so we'll focus on Nedeljkovic, but mainly him over Booth. Defensively, we are good. If I'm not mistaken, Robertson, Wesley, and Didier we do not have to worry about. And forward-wise, I think we're also good. There might be one guy who should be in the lineup, but even then I doubt they're going to be that great. So yeah, Steven Lorenz, you're not going to make it. And left wings, yeah, we're fine. So Zach Stortini, congratulations. You get to be in the lineup, Captain Caveman himself. So with that, let's do this. Let's sim through our first season with the Hurricanes. We'll see how we do. Who knows? We might even be a playoff team, but there are still stakes to this season. We have to be successful on Saturdays to stick at the Don Cherry and really show him, I don't know who John is, and stick at the Don Cherry to show who the bunch of jerks really are. Really, in fairness, it's just Don, because Ron McLean is a saint. That's right, I said it. Of course, injuries are on as well, so that could heavily affect what is going to happen to the lineup this year. But I am excited to see how this is going to go down, how well we're going to do this year. Of course, the morale system's on as well, so I still have to deal with that. The only real change is that we're not planning on necessarily doing anything with the team, although we do have to assign the scouts. I always forget to do that. Let's take a look. We have our 4 NHL, our 4 AHL, in fairness. Granted, these are low overalls, but we're actually looking okay. I need to get a US West scout, but that's easy enough. Damn, I didn't think actually the scouting department would be looking as good as it is, but I'll take it. I mean, the current ratings of these scouts aren't exactly the best, but as it is, we only have B players on the free agent list, so it's not that big of a deal, really. So we'll bring in another junior scout here, hopefully. Whoa, game, what are you doing? What are you trying to pull here? What are you doing? I think, oh boy, where else do we want to go? Germany. Germany can work. And, I mean, from there, it pretty much doesn't matter. The Allsvenskan is always just an absolute waste. Switzerland. Okay, that's what we're going to need to do. So we need an Allsvenskan scout and a Swiss scout, and we'll be good to go. Of course, we could just sign whoever and move them over. Not really too concerned, actually. Well, hold on. Let me take a lovely look here. So I want to take a look at the efficiency ratings, but it shouldn't be that bad. So Hornqvist, you are very good in Switzerland, actually. So we'll try to sign you for 3 years. Good chance I'll buy you out. And we need somebody in Germany, and it will be Raimo Laxo. Quick and easy. Thankfully, to set up the scouting department this year. A lot of times, it's a bit more of a pain in the ass, and I suppose if I wanted to make sure I ended up with the highest rated scouts, it would be a pain, but I think we're okay. We have our first player morale meeting of this series. It's Justin Williams. What's going on, Captain? Dysfunctional family. How about we wait until the season starts, buddy? I'm happy with the group we have. How about, yeah, thanks. I'm happy for the season, so you're going to have to deal with it. And he likes the fact that I was assertive. Well, Justin, good. That's my response. Good. Thank you for not making my job difficult, as we have those 3 scouts except, and we're going to have to stop the sim here. We open the season against the Islanders with a 4-0 loss. So much for being a playoff team. I mean, it's one game. I'm sure we'll be fine. Maybe. There's no real way to tell. I mean, the goaltending isn't the best, but we have the type of team where if you were to run into us in the playoffs, you'd be like, yep, I'm going to lose to that team. So you never quite know. Orenkvist, again, you, actually, yeah, unfortunately, even Lax is better. But you are going to Switzerland, my friend. Have fun. Beautiful country. And Laxo will be going to Germany. Indeed. With that, we're good to go. Of course, with us actually having pro scouts in this series, I can't really double up on a ton of different spots in terms of having like 2 U.S. scouts for each region, 2 WHL, OHL, and QMJs, JHL scouts. We need those pro scouts, which is a rarity for a series of mine this year. It'll be interesting to see how that affects us, if at all. We have 2 games on a Saturday this month, Minnesota and Colorado. All eyes as Justin Williams gets hurt with an MCL sprain. We're just going to go best lines. He's out until December. Jesus. All eyes will be on those 2 games as we lose Justin Williams, our captain, for the season. Why? I can't talk today. I can't speak. What is going on? Lucas Walmark also hurt with back spasms. Oh boy. The joys of injury being back on. Let's go ahead. And I don't know who to call up because they're all younger players. Yikes. For the most part, Patrick Brown is 26. Congratulations, Patrick. You are on the way up, and we'll just go best lines across the board. Pretty straightforward. A 1-3 record to kick things off. First Saturday game of the season. Jake Bean gets hurt down in Charlotte. We'll be able to go best lines. Dougie Hamilton is hurt. And for the people who hate injuries being on, they are already just dying inside. But it's all right. I think I'm going to call up Trevor Carrick. He is, he's older at 24 years old. It's him or Dan Renew, former UMaine Black Bear. I'm going to call up Trevor Carrick. And again, we'll go best lines and just let people hang out. First Saturday game of the season is a 3-2 loss to Minnesota. Not ideal as player morale. What do you got in store for us? Michael Ferland and Nino Niederreiter. Ferland! I agree. The team sucks right now, but what do you want? Losing stinks. Be a part of the salute. You know, really. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the answer. That's pretty much the answer. Get over it. He's also a big fan of the assertive tone. And Nino! I'm not feeling very positive about my performance. Nino, you got this. You got this. I believe in you. Don't worry. Of course, you're going to be pissed off about it, but that's fine. You can be pissed. I don't care. I believe in you, though. Dougie, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the museum during your time off. As far as the draft class is concerned, not too worried. Of course, I'm familiar with everyone who's in this upcoming draft class, considering I added half of them to the game. Callum Booth goes down to injury for Charlotte. Justin Falk down with a concussion. Jesus Christ, injuries left and right. And we moved to 0-2 on Saturdays. Oh, God. Don Cherry yucking it up right now. Me, not so much. Those games are crucial. We have 2 games coming up against Vancouver and Detroit. Or Vancouver, Vegas, and Detroit. My God, I am just batting 1,000 right now, aren't I? Damn. I mentioned being nervous because I'm unsure of this. I gotta admit, I'm unsure of this direction change for the first season. Hopefully, it's interesting. I hope. I normally have a ton of confidence in my season. I'm like, God damn, let's go, Seattle Sea Cattle. We got this. I'm a little bit nervous right now. There's a lot. What? Excuse me? So wait, if I turn off computer trade offers, oh god, we moved to 0-3 on Saturdays. Jesus. I turned off computer trade offers. Did I not? We looked at it at the start of the episode. What? Does that just mean they can't offer to one another, but they can still offer to me? That must be what it is. So I'm going to turn off that notification and that notification as well for this season. That is so weird. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but still, it's kind of weird. You think that would have completely restricted them. Fun fact, Michael Furlan right now is our leading scorer. We are 0-3 on Saturdays, and we have plenty of games on Saturdays, Saturday-based games throughout the month of November. But right now, the team sucks. We need to hope for a little bit of luck. These injuries aren't exactly helping right now. Best lines all the time. All the time. The good thing is with the way oh my god, we just got smoked by Chicago. And we moved to 0-4 on Saturdays. Oh god, Slavin is hurt. Everything is not coming up Millhouse right now. So we do need to call up another defenseman. It's going to be Dan Renouf. And we'll go best lines on that front. Wow, what a miserable start to the season. Player morale. I can only imagine, fellas, what you're thinking right now. Daniel, you're welcome for the opportunity. You are welcome. Let's see. Yeah, work hard, buddy. Work hard. I'm sorry. That's all. What do you want me to say, Dan? EA hasn't left me the option to be like, hey, this is just temporary, but play hard and, maybe you'll be our primary call-up. I don't have that option. Can we get our first win on a Saturday? Please. Yes. Thank God. We beat Columbus. We are now 1-4 on Saturdays this season. Beautiful. We needed that so badly. And if we can beat the Islanders here, we might be back on track to avoid that punishment heading into Season 2. Let's see what we are dealing with here. So, Daniel, good thing is you're not going to be affected by waivers, which, again, it's not like I'm going to send anybody down. That shouldn't be sent down, so that's fine. And if I were to do that, I would still be affected by the morale system. My God, 9-5 loss to Florida. What do we got against the Islanders? Please win. Oh, we lost in a shootout. Oh, no. I mean, a loss is a loss, technically, but we are 1-4-1 on Saturdays. Don Cherry being proven right. He is yucking it up right now. Oh, boy. 7-16-2 as of December 1st. Yikes. So again, we have lost to Minnesota, Colorado, Vegas, and Detroit. We end up beating Columbus, but losing to the Islanders as well. 7-16-2 on the season thus far. Oof. Let's go to January. Let's go to January 1st before we start taking a look at some numbers and everything and seeing how the team is doing. We only have 2 games on Saturday this month. At the end of the month, Pittsburgh and New Jersey, where we are currently desperate for wins as Greg McKegg goes down to a concussion. Svechnikov comes back, though, right at the same time. We end up losing another game, this time 6-3, to the Los Angeles Kings. I suppose the good news here is that the Charlotte Checkers have a winning record this year. It would be nice and promising, of course, for them to get playoff time for those youngsters. So hopefully that happens, as we've won 2 in a row for the first time in God knows how long, probably all season. Justin Williams, welcome back. As far as who gets sent down, who the hell knows? Oh, boy. Again, I'm not going to... Well, in fairness, Darling has been sent down, IRL. I'm going to send down Darling. We are still going to run with 7 defensemen. It's going to be Trevor Carrick. And forward-wise, we have our 10, 11, 12, and... Oof. Yeah, Patrick Brown needs to go down, too. There we go. So we should be good. Scott, I'm sorry, but in real life, you've been sent down this season, too, so I don't feel too bad about doing that, and you'll get some decent time. It'll now be Darling and Nedeljkovic and Charlotte. Easy for me to say. So that should be somewhat beneficial for us, as we're still picking up wins here and there. The injury bug is biting hard thus far, but we're slowly scratching and crawling our way back towards playoff contention. I still doubt we make it. It would be a miracle for us to do so. Big time game here against Pittsburgh. Can we get the win? Oh God, the injuries, please. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We are 1-6 on Saturday this season. And unless we pull a rabbit out of the hat, we are screwed, and we will not be scouting a primetime location heading into next season. And depending on what that lands on, that could be extremely devastating. We lose to New Jersey as well. We are 1-7. We don't have a single game on Saturday. Have we already lost the challenge? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we still have time, but we have to pretty much win every remaining game on Saturday this season, or we are completely screwed. So there's no real way of telling how that's going to go. Fun fact, though, we're not even in dead last in the division. We are 10 points above the Rangers, who only have 8 wins on the season, which is absolutely ridiculous. Let's take a look at the standings and see what we're dealing with here, as Aho right now is leading the team. Apparently, although Ferland's hurt. So the Islanders leading the Metro, Columbus, Philly, Pittsburgh also up there. In fairness, Pittsburgh's more in a wild card spot. Right now, though, the Islanders and Blue Jackets are cruising. Absolutely cruising. In the Atlantic, you have Buffalo, Tampa, and Montreal leading the way. In fairness, no one's really ahead of that outside of Ottawa. In the Central, St. Louis, Chicago, Colorado. You have Dallas, Winnipeg struggling a little bit. And in the Pacific, Edmonton, Vegas, and Calgary leading the way, although San Jose is right there. So, I mean, by far the worst team in the league had to have been Ottawa, and it is. Actually, not even by far. The Rangers is who I meant, but yeah, Ottawa's really struggling too. So, not completely unrealistic. We are a bottom 5 team in the league right now. 3.61 goals against average is the 3rd highest behind Ottawa and New York. If that doesn't speak to where we are right now, I don't know what does. We've had god-awful goaltending. Forward-wise, Aho is leading the way. Teravainen, Ferland, Svechnikov, 20 points in his rookie season thus far. Defensively, it's not terrible, I suppose. And then goaltending-wise, oh my god, they're so bad. Oh, they're so bad, but damn it, they're trying. That's all you can say. Damn it, they are trying. Bless them. Throughout the entire league, Sagan, Stamkos, Radulov, Kane, O'Reilly, Eichel, McDavid, and Skinner leading the way. Ovi up there as well. In terms of goals for, it is Connor McDavid. So there you go. We have fixed McDavid, apparently. As Andres Lee's also up there. We have fixed McDavid, apparently, by just giving, more power play opportunities out there, pretty much. That is the way to do it. And to that point, I do want to see... What do I want to see here? I'm going to check fights and everything at the end of the year. What am I doing? What am I looking for? I am a mess today. Penalty minutes. Ooh, Ryan Reeves. Jesus, absolute goon. Absolute goon. Wanted to look at defensemen first, but again, absolute mess here. Sorry. Klingberg leading the way. Burns, Carlson, Gio, Hedman, Yandel, Jones, Subban, and Pietrangelo. I don't totally disagree with that. Goal scoring leader is Brent Burns and Eric Gustafsson. Fairly accurate, actually. Eric Gustafsson has had perhaps one of the most underrated or underappreciated seasons in the NHL this year. As far as the goaltenders are concerned, Hutton and Vasi tied for wins. Top goaltender right now amongst the starters, Carey Price, the only one to have over a 930 or over, I should say. In terms of the rookies, Pettersson, although Dom Cahoon, Brady Tkachuk, also somewhat up there. Right now it is Pettersson with 33 points, who is leading that race. Let's continue onward. We have a somewhat stress-free month underway, as we have no games on Saturday. So no pressure, but again, we are 1-7. 1-7. We basically have to win every single Saturday game we have left, or we are going to face that scouting punishment heading into next season. And unfortunately, I don't like our chances because I'm not going to consider a tie a win. I don't know if it should be considered a loss because technically it's not, but I probably won't consider it a win because technically we would not have won more games, and that is the goal. So we have to win 7 Saturday games or we are screwed and we will be facing that punishment next year. Not the most restrictive punishment that we could have had, but I do like that as a starting punishment. And again, the preseason, as Justin Williams gets hurt again, the preseason, I will have that option as far as, hey, what should the punishment be? Most thumbs up comment is how we'll do it. And again, this was the one that won out. Like I said, I kind of like it. You know, you dip your toe into the pool of misery, as we'll call it. Let's be honest, I'm sure we're going to fail the vast majority of the challenges we face this year. Good Lord, all of the prompts for the sake of people coming back from injury. Damn. Especially the minor injuries, too. Those are the ones that really add up. But again, thank God this team is where I need it to be right now, where we can just go best lines, and it's really not an issue. We play against the Dallas Stars coming up, and if we are going to get on a good run, it needs to start right then and there. We actually play them in back-to-back weekends, one at home and one on the road. We know we do not have a full-strength team. Let's be honest, we have not had a full-strength team for the majority of this season, at least judging by the amount of prompts I've had to handle. Oh boy, if we lose this one, man. The good thing is we've been on a tear lately. I mean, we're fighting to get back into playoff contention again. We're not going to make it, but here we go. Can we beat Dallas? It's the second game. God damn it, too. Back to back. Edmonton is a loss. Come on, just beat Dallas. Just beat Dallas. Oh my God, we lost 6-1. We moved to 1-8 on Saturday, and Don Cherry, oh, Grapes, you, he has earned the right to call us a bunch of jerks, because, boy, are we letting ourselves down here. If we lose this one, we're toast, right? Come on, please. Oh, my God, we lost again. 1-9 on Saturday. Let me see if it's official. So we could go 2-9, 3-9, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have officially lost. We have lost this challenge. We will be losing the ability to scout a major region heading into next season. What do you say we go ahead and get that decided now, shall we? We might as well. It wouldn't be this series without a nice, lovely little wheel spin. Thanks to wheelspin.com. So, we have the CHL leagues, of course. We're going to rock the W, the O, and the Q. We are also going not to do that. Really? I tried to drop down an extra. It's fine. It doesn't really affect anything. Who cares? In the U.S. region, we, of course, have U.S. East. We have U.S. Central, and we have U.S. West. Did I put them out of order? Technically, it depends on what side of the map you look at first. We will also be avoiding, potentially, Finland and the SHL. You know what that means. It doesn't make any sense to label it like that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to list the German League or the NLA as a major league because it is not, so the final deal here is Russia. What's it gonna be? Where will we not be allowed to scout next season? It is going to be Russia. Could have been worse. Could have been worse. But no Russian scouts next year. I will leave it up to you as to whether or not I can reassign that Russian scout, or if I'm only allowed to have 19 out of 20 scouts and we just flat out cannot employ somebody else. Let me know what you think. Am I allowed to reassign whoever would be on Russia to a different region, or can I not have a scout at all? We just lost a scout for next year and we're not allowed to scout Russia whatsoever. Let me know what you think as to how we should define that punishment specifically. Now, we have nothing else to look forward to because we're not going to be a playoff team. So let's, oh God, Tavo's out for the rest of the year. Yeah, we're done as we do beat Los Angeles 7-2, but we are toast. Teravainen out for the rest of the year. We lost to Florida too. We still only have one win on a Saturday. As insane as that is, we are 1-10. I don't think For those of you that thumbs up that comment that you thought we'd be this bad, it's horrible. 1-11 on Saturdays. Good Lord. Oh boy, we got to call up another forward here as the injury bug continues to bite. It is going to be, hey, look at Nakash going up to a 78. Not bad. Nick Roy is also a fourth line guy next year too. That is going to cause some slight issues, as I expected it would. We're going to have to make a decent amount of changes heading into the next offseason. But we'll make that call up. Can we hit 30 wins here heading into this weekend against Columbus or Buffalo? Calvin DeHaan is also hurt. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Let's go ahead and call up Dan Renouf. You know what? For the hell of it, I'm going to call up Wesley as well. And we'll call up Steven Lorenz just to sit on the bench in case anything else happens. That way I can go best lines. Save a little bit of time. As we do get our 30th win of the season against Columbus in a 5-1 win, but then we get smoked by Buffalo 6-0. So 35 wins might be the limit at this point. Saku is back. Welcome. As we end up picking up 2 straight wins. That's not too bad. Calvin DeHaan has returned to the lineup, so we'll go ahead and make that quick adjustment. John Wesley, and down you go. That should be pretty straightforward. We get shut out by Montreal, as I'm sure they are still storming towards a playoff spot. Washington is perhaps the big surprise this year. We have a better record than the Caps, and we beat them 1-0. Makes you wonder what's gone on there with Washington. Fogel is out with some back issues. We only have 3 games left this year. We have hit 35 wins, which, I mean, I was expecting more. I was hoping for more. But all things considered, with how bad of a start to the season we had and with how bad our goaltending was this year, a 35-40-7 record isn't all that bad. But still, not exactly a banner season for the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's take a look around the league and see what we are dealing with, shall we? As we'll get a look here at the Metro. Columbus not only took the division, but took the conference. The Islanders and Penguins also make the playoffs. But my God, was this division just miserable this year. Absolutely miserable. In the Atlantic, you had Florida take the division. Boston, Buffalo, Tampa, and Montreal. No playoffs for the Maple Leafs. Crazy. In the Central, St. Louis, Dallas, Winnipeg, Chicago, and Colorado have made it. In the Pacific, Vegas, San Jose, and Edmonton. So around the league, the number 1 team, the Columbus Blue Jackets. We get a look at the bottom 5, which we were not involved in, but it's Ottawa, New York, New Jersey, Washington, and Detroit. Vancouver finished 26th. We finished 25th. But some god-awful teams this year. Some absolutely god-awful teams. Ottawa had the worst offense in the league. We were bottom 5, unfortunately, as compared to Chicago at the top of the list. Worst goaltending. Weren't quite bottom 5, but we were bottom 10 in terms of just having a god-awful setup. Power plays this year, let's see, the power play percentage went to the Jets. We were up there, though, right? Nope, we weren't. I misread it. We were mid-table somewhere. Who cares? We were terrible. That's all that matters. Damn. Although, Charlotte Checkers, are you on pace to be a playoff team? Because that would at least be a victory. Nope. No, you're not. Cool. So no playoffs whatsoever for this organization this season. Nino Niederreiter finished as our leading scorer. He and Aho, the only 2 to break the 50-point barrier. Ferland with 47, 45 for Svechnikov as a rookie. I mean, Walmart hitting 37 is nice. Teravainen underperformed drastically. He might have broken 50 had he played the last 19 games of the season. I can see why we struggled as much as we did. Can certainly see that. When Patrick Brown has to play 38 games, you know there's an issue. Defensively, Falk with 42 points. Hamilton broke 30. Not too bad. Trevor Carrick ended up playing 43 games, though. The injury bug bit hard. Goaltending-wise, I mean, Matt Delaney actually, in fairness to him, did recover quite well to finish with a 9-10, but Mrazek was the shits. 5-21-3. Good Lord. Let's take a look around the league and see how everybody did, shall we? As Alex Radulov led the league, the only player to break 100 this year. Kane, Sagan, Stamkos, Scheifele, Laine, Eichel, Taves, and Skinner up there, so you can obviously see the pairings that would have led the way. Kucherov and McDavid were at least up there, as was Crosby, but not exactly at the top. Goal-scoring king, Laine, Sagan, Kane, and Ovechkin all tied at 46. The assist king, Scheifele, Barzal just behind him. For the hell of it, best plus-minus, Steven Stamkos. Worst in the league, Mikhail Bodker and Pajot. God, the Sens sucked. Top penalty minutes, Reeves, Smith, and Clifford, the three to break 100 penalty minutes on the season. I think that's all we really have to check, right? Probably. Who's the hit king, for the hell of it? Michael Furland. Hey, we won something. Marchand was second, alongside Sasha Barkov. Who was the fight king? Ryan Reeves. That's not a surprise, given the penalty minutes that he accumulated this year. Klingberg led all defensemen, over point a game. Burns had a very respectable year. Yandel, Erik Karlsson as well. No real surprising names up there, I would say. Goal-scoring king was Burns. And well done, Gustafsson finished with 16. Not too bad. Vlasic with 15. Not bad at all. Top goaltenders. Bishop with the most wins for the Dallas Stars. Brossoit was great. Greiss, not quite a starter. Carey Price only played 44 games, too. That might cost him the Vezina. I could easily see it going to Fleury, or more so, Connor Hellebuck. Freddie Anderson also missed time this year as well. Only 41 games played. And Shane Starrett did very well for the Oilers. Top rookie, it is going to be Pettersson, who ends up winning the Calder. No doubt about that. Kachuk, Kotkaniemi, both broke 50. Heiskanen finished fourth with 48 points as a defenseman. Not too shabby, Miro. And that ends our first season at the helm of the Hurricanes. We are free now, and granted, we could have done this at the trade deadline once we went past, but that's okay. We will turn everything back on. From here on out, we have, I want to say, full control of the team, but let's be honest, that's not true. That's not necessarily true that we have full control over this team. We have a lot of control, but I don't know if we're ever going to be in full control of this organization throughout this series. I think we are good to go, though. I'm not going to hold a team meeting unless I'm forced to, because, let's be honest, it's going to be pretty rough. What do we really have to say? Well, guys, you absolutely sucked and you couldn't stay healthy. We'll see you next year. Try harder. It's pretty much all we would have. Let's at least find out in this episode what we are dealing with when it comes to the trade, or not the trade lottery, the draft lottery. And of course, the draft will be our first opportunity to make some trades, which we are going to have to do, seeing as quite a few players progressed. Although, I would imagine I'm going to hold off on making any moves until the re-sign phase. And again, the re-sign phase is going to be a pretty big deal as well, seeing as I know we're going to have some decent contracts that we're going to have to work out. And then we get involved, of course, with the no movements and the no trades. It's going to pick up in the next episode, as if, getting the sucker punch of immediately having our scouting department neutered, as if that wasn't enough. It's going to be very difficult to get this team set up into a winning way. I mean, as it is, if you look at the team right now, technically, it's looking okay, but again, we're already supposed to have a fourth liner go, and we haven't even seen players go through their off-season progression yet. That off-season progression is where I could be completely screwed over as well. If someone jumps from a third line forward to a second line forward, for example, that's going to be problematic. I'm already getting anxious thinking about it. So let's think happier thoughts like, hey, we could win the Jack Hughes sweepstakes. Will we? No, because how often do I win the lottery? The Blue Jackets win the Stanley Cup. The Bakersfield Condors take home the Calder Cup. And we'll take a look. I mean, the good thing is we know what this Blue Jackets roster looks like, of course, since they were not allowed to make any trades. You have Winnipeg over Dallas, Colorado over St. Louis, San Jose over Edmonton, Chicago over Vegas. Winnipeg beats Colorado in 6. Chicago beats San Jose in 7. But then Winnipeg beats the Blackhawks in 6 to get to the Stanley Cup final. where we know they lost to Columbus in 6, but I want to see what happened in the East as Pittsburgh beat the Islanders, Columbus beat Montreal, barely. Buffalo beats Boston, Florida beats Tampa. You have Columbus beat Pittsburgh, Buffalo beats Florida, and Columbus makes it past Buffalo in 6. Not too shabby. Bakersfield ended up beating the Belleville Sens in 7 to win the Calder Cup again. We will take a look at that Blue Jackets team, which we know hasn't really changed. So that's nice, at least. And a lot of the changes will be happening, of course, next season. Goalie-wise, Bobrovsky at .926. Kincaid had 3 appearances. Defenseman Jones killed it. Werenski did very well as well. And forward-wise, Bjorkstrand. Jesus. Who would have guessed? Bjorkstrand and Milano would lead the way on a team with Duchesne, Panarin, Atkinson, Dubois. That is crazy. But that is the sim engine for you. As far as the awards for this season are concerned, Radulov wins the Art Ross and the Hart. The Norris to Klingberg, hell of a year for Dallas in that regard. Lady Bing to Sagan. Pedersen wins the Calder. Bobrovsky, the Conn Smythe. The Vezina to Connor Hellebuck, as well as the Jennings. Bill Masterton to Johnny Boychuk. Ryan O'Reilly wins the Selke. Radulov to Ted Lindsay. And the Rocket Richard to Patrick Laine. Down in the AHL, Tolvanen put up the most points and was league MVP. He also scored the most goals and was the top rookie. The other Sebastian Aho was the top defenseman, top goaltender Jonas Korpisalo, MVP of the playoffs, Al Montoya. And that brings our opening season to a close. But the question is, can we end things on a high note with a little bit of lotto luck? That would be a massive turn of events for us. Drum roll, please. We have the 7th pick. New Jersey will get the number 1 pick. New York at 2. And Colorado, unfortunately, gets kind of jobbed having that extra pick. We end up with the 7th overall selection in this upcoming draft. Now, I do want to take a look at what we're dealing with here, because right now, you would assume that the players being on the board would be this, would be that group right there. And I gotta be honest, the main target to look at here is going to be Jamie Whitfield, simply because he is the only computer-generated player on that particular, group of players, in that particular group of players. Otherwise, Bowen Byram would also be a good way to go, as well as Trevor Zegras, who I have seen in another series put up a ton of goals as computer-generated players tend to do. So it would be one of those 3 that would be the better way to go. Can't help but think, though, it would be Whitfield, who, we can't confirm that, but he's going to be really good. I know Bowen Byram's already, I think, closing in on a 70 overall, high top 4, so no doubt about it, Whitfield is the guy. But from there is where it gets interesting in the upcoming draft, which we are going to get to our first offseason in the next episode, as Chara calls it a career at the end of the first season. That is a rarity. Colin Kunitz, Brooks Laich, and others. And again, Chara is the biggest name out of that class. Crazy. Any goaltenders called? Backstrom, Nilstorp, and Potzold. Good to know. Colin and Kunitz both become scouts. Trade block I'm not really going to worry about throughout the course of this series. But this is where it gets interesting, because again, we are going to need to plan ahead of time who we want to get, because there is, of course, the rule of having to take one of each. One of each with that 1 free pick. One of each position. And that's going to be a bit of a problem. So again, we are going to have the 7th pick in each round. So if I look at who I would probably try to plan out getting, I do have that ability, and of course that is where trading up and trading down, which I'm allowed to do once per draft, really comes into play. So say, for example, we're going to target Whitfield, right? He would be our center pick for the draft. That is going to be tough now, isn't it? So 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, and a goaltender, and a free pick from there. If we go down to 31, of course, right now the scouts seem a little bit undecided, but the obvious pick here would be another computer-generated player, I do believe, and Juha Sivonen, I suppose. That might be where we end up taking a defenseman. could also be where we end up taking a goaltender. Spencer Knight is there, but that is presumably going to be the list of players that is available to me. But there is no guarantee, of course. The AI, on occasion, especially towards the top half of the draft, do start to take off the board picks. So the exact order here might be a little bit screwed, but that'd be a hell of a way to start off a draft, picking up that computer-generated center and Spencer Knight in goal. From there, we'd be playing with house money, even if we end up with some subpar players. So overall, a failure of a season for the Hurricanes, although that might not hurt us in the long run, thanks to us getting a better draft pick out of the deal. Again, heading in to this next episode, we are going through the entirety of the offseason. That starts with the draft. And when we look at the picks that we have, technically, we have to get rid of a selection as it is. So that's a little bit of a rough start. There will be at least, oh my god. Yeah, we're gonna have to make some trades. And the good thing is I can hold on to that second round pick, but in terms of the order not being decided on who we're getting, it absolutely isn't, because we know that we have to make a trade there. Whether or not I end up trading any players at the draft, probably not. I think it's more likely, Darling's down to a 75. I think it's more likely that we hold off and wait until the start of free agency. Hell, I might even have to wait until we get to the start of the preseason so that we can see player development in terms of prospects. But there is one thing that can be said for sure. This team, in its current state, is going to change quite a bit. Hope you guys enjoyed this first episode despite the slight change in direction for it, but I feel like it was for the best to be able to see what exactly is going on around the league, of course, with everything, still being up to date and the AI not being able to make those changes. But all bets are off heading into episode 2. I will see you guys there. Let me know, number one, still any feedback is more than appreciated, but let me know thoughts, suggestions, and potentially, I'll leave the question up to you as far as what the punishment should be heading into the second season if we were to fail. But, I don't know. Maybe leave them down below. Let me know. You guys were great about feedback for the first episode. I'm sure you won't disappoint me. Thank you very much for watching. You know the deal with the supporting and the subscribings and the bells and everything. Checking out everything in the description. You know all that shtick. It's whatever a YouTuber tells you to do, and if you want to do it, you'll do it because you are an individual, and I respect that. I will see you in the next one. I love you. Goodbye.